Hello Fast Learners, welcome to our Fast Learn Hub, and in this second part of our assignment, I remember in our first assignment, the assignment we have is to write a program that grades a coursework that is out of 40% and an exam that is out of 60%, and then we obtain the final mark, grade, and assign a GPA. So in the first part of the video, we are able to use PHP to get our assignment done, and as we went to our browser and we went to our localhost and assignment 1 was there. However, then in this second part, what we are going to do, we just want to upgrade this a little bit, that we're going to upgrade it in a way that it works a bit with a simple HTML form. So we're going to create a simple HTML form here where the student can enter their marks, coursework marks, and exam mark, and then PHP will automatically calculate the total. So we shall use PHP to calculate the total mark, as well as the grade and the GPA. Okay, so without wasting any other time, more time, let's just jump in and we continue. So we're just going to continue with the codes that we have been using. This is the thing we programmed in the first we programmed in our first part of the assignment. So just the upgrade of this, we're going to just introduce a simple form. We shall do it in our HTML. Then we prompt the user to bring in to enter the exam instead of us hard coding the coursework marks. So we want to prompt the user to give us the marks of the coursework and the marks of the exam, and then for us, we shall our PHP will automatically calculate the total. We'll just calculate this total percentage and also give us the grade and the GPA. Okay, so with that being said, let me first do this. I will literally first comment the PHP here. I will comment the PHP I literally comment the PHP. Okay, PHP is commented. Okay, now I'll prompt in. I'll call for the HTML with a shortcut of shift exclamation mark. We press enter. They'll give us this body, the frame of HTML, whereby I have to type HTML. You can do it, write it if you want, but then with a shortcut, why would you go over this hassle? And whereby it gives you the whole structure of HTML. Okay, so we have doc type HTML. The head, in the head we have a title. Allow me call this. I'll do edit the title as student. Let me call it student grade grade. Let me call it a student grade calculator. Okay, calculator. Well, so going back to our title is student grade calculator. In our body, this is where we're going to be writing our form. So I will first have a title. I'll use a heading 2 H2, and I'll call it. I'll prompt the user to enter your marks. Tell the user to enter your marks, and then we shall go ahead and because we want to create a form, we shall just use the prompt of form. Okay, so with form, we have an opening tag and a closing tag. So literally what makes a form is that when we write just write a form has only a few things to put in. So what creates a form is a label. We can use a label. And what are you going to label? Let me say we're going to label this as coursework. First it will be a coursework. This is coursework. Well, what happened in my code? Coursework. Okay, coursework. So are we in? Yes, sir. Label is coursework. If I set that and I go to browser refresh, yeah. So the H2, the heading was enter your marks. So the label is coursework. So to continue with the label, I can also make an input where to give the and what are you going to the type. So with the input, it has an attribute of type. So which type is it going to be? A text. So the value of a coursework is going to literally be a number, so we shall say number. The type will be number instead of text. Is going to be number. When we save that, we go back and refresh. Yeah, so it's like coursework, enter the number. Okay, so you can enter any number, you can increase, decrease, increase. Okay, so that being said, we continue. So I'll literally edit something here. I'll call it coursework. Maybe it's to have it more user friendly. I'll say out of this coursework is out of 40. Okay, so we have a coursework that is out of 40. So and then with the number, with the attributes that we can include in the label, we remember in the label, the first label is coursework. So with the attribute we can include actually the attributes, most attributes have to go in the form, because we have to give an attribute. Like in the form you have an attribute of method with. So method is which method are we going to use to link up this form to our PHP. We can either use get, post. So and as for this case, we're going to use the post method. I'll call it post. Okay, yeah, well, so let's continue. So going back to our input, the type was number. We have another attribute we can put. We can say the name attribute in the input, and it is coursework. The name is coursework. These attributes help a lot in giving and in making the access of the code easier. And another attribute we can include in the input, or we can say maximum. There's an attribute of max that we can limit. That since we know that the coursework should be out of 40, so the maximum value that the mark that the user should enter should not go beyond mark 40, and then the minimum, yeah, the mean will be 0. Okay, well, that's okay. So let's see what we have so far. Yeah, so this is what we have. We have coursework out of 40, and the maximum you can go up to is 40. You cannot put anything beyond 40. Okay, yeah, that will not be allowed. And then to make sure that if someone puts in beyond that, we have to include another attribute, which is it's called required. Yeah, so required, it means that they cannot submit this form if the coursework value is not entered. Okay, so the other thing was the exam, because we see the coursework is well. Now we want to know the exam, so I will just copy this label. I'll copy this, and I will still paste it here, but this time around it's going to be exam, and it's out of 60. Then the type is still number, the name is exam, maximum, the exam was out of 60, minimum is 0, and it's also required. Okay, yeah, so let's see what we have so far. Going to the browser, refresh. Oh, this is what we have, but how about if we have them on separate lines? So having them on separate lines, we introduce the break, the BR tag. So after this, here, after having the label of coursework and the input, so in here I will just introduce the break tag, which is BR, and if we save, we refresh. So this is what we have. I think we can give more space. I will introduce another break just on the same line here, BR. Okay, refresh. When I refresh, so that looks okay. That looks okay to me. Okay, let's proceed. So yeah, I think we're doing well. We have built the coursework. We are prompting the user also to enter the exam. So okay, let us also tell the user to what? To perhaps go ahead and submit after giving us those values. So we shall break, and then after breaking, we will literally just input, and the type will be this time submit. Will be submit, and the name attribute will be, again, it will be, name attribute will be submit also. It's a submit button. Actually, you can also use a button instead of writing input. You can just say a button, but I'm using this for this tutorial. On the value, do we need to write a value? Yeah, we can just say a value. These attributes help a lot. Maybe calculate grade. But even if you don't have a, okay, let me not have a value in for now. Yeah, because I don't need to make a lot of things that will make it a bit confuse us. So far what we have created our form. Remember, all these things are inside the opening tag of the form and the closing tag of the form. And with that being said, I will introduce let us first see what we have. When you go to a browser, we refresh, we have a submit button. Okay, that's very nice. Okay, that being said, we can also introduce, and I'll introduce, you can leave it there, but I'll introduce HR tag, and this helps us to create a line. So that's what we have so far. So with that being said, we have created a simple form in our HTML. So we are prompting the user to enter any value, the coursework marks and the exam marks, and then you will have to submit. However, this submission, we have to now link up our HTML to the PHP, so that once you submit, PHP will be able to automatically calculate the total, and also give us the grade and the GPA. So with that, what we are going to do, we remember we have our PHP already done. We did this, we coded this back in our what? Back in the part 1 of this video. So we're going to just copy this. I'll highlight this. Okay, let me copy this. Actually, I'll cut it out here, and then I'll bring it in here in our body of the HTML in here, and I'll paste it here. Okay, so I'll remove the comments. I'm removing the comments comments tags. So this is what we have. Now this time around in our PHP, we're going to delete this. Remember here we had assigned the coursework and the exam in the first place, but the fact that now we're using the form to get the coursework mark and the exam mark, we no longer need this line of code of coursework 35 and 50. So I'm deleting that. Okay, so we have the coursework and exam percentages. Okay, these are the formulas that PHP is going to use to calculate the total, the coursework percentage when you input in there in the form, and also the final mark. So in here I introduced two random values that we shall use the number format. I'll explain these things in the first part of the tutorial. So if you really didn't watch that video, please, I encourage you to first go watch the other one and then you jump in here, because I'm not going to go all over the same things, yet we have the video that explains them. So with that being mentioned, now what we have to do, we're going to introduce a simple thing within up here in this code, so that we can link up our HTML form to our PHP. So with that, what we shall do, we shall have if. Okay, it's if $sign server. So we're calling in a server. So the bracket, the request method. It's the request method. And what else? We shall have a equal signs. We have used get. No, we used post. So we used post here, and then we shall. Okay, this is what we shall have. So we shall be like coursework. Alright, I'm going to explain this in let me first add it, and then I'll be explaining it. Okay, hopefully we are following and you're coding. I encourage everyone, please, as we are literally doing this, please, it's very nice to code along, because you cannot learn how to swim by just watching some other person swimming. So I encourage each and every one of us to, it's coursework, you're right. So we terminate. So the same thing I'm going to do for the exam. I encourage each and every one of us. Oh, what am I doing? Saying that I'm encouraging each and every one of us to code along, such that you make life a bit easy, and this thing will stick more when you code along exam. Okay. Exam, we're missing up. Okay, then we terminate. Okay, is that so? Let me see, I've called the server, we have used the post, and after having used the post, okay, fine. So now, ladies and gentlemen, now first learners, this line of code of if the $sign server usually use a capital, it's called by using a capital. $sign server request method post. So this line of code, this tells PHP how the form was submitted. This form here had a method which was post. This is what we used here. Other people use, you can use get. It's also another method. I'll be doing a separate video for these methods get and post, but as for now, because I want to have assignment done, let us just learn how to use them. That the method we have used in here is post, and then so PHP, this tells PHP, this line of code tells PHP that how the form was submitted, and the form was submitted by using post. This is why it equals that the way the form was submitted we used post. Okay, so and so when the form is submitted, this is just a way of checking that did the user really submit did you click the submit button? Okay, so the other thing, I don't know whether I'm really we're getting it clear. The other thing I will mention here is this line of code, the coursework equals dollar post and then coursework. So with this line of code, anyway, let me explain this line of code. It gets the value that is typed into the input box with the name coursework. So that any value that the user is going to input, this line of code will get that value. PHP will use this line of code to know that maybe a certain user has put there 34 in the coursework as his or marks, and then this one down of exam, it will get the value that is typed into the input box with the name exam for exam. Okay, then these other lines of code are very things that we explained, so I'll only literally delete out this and I'll put it down here because these line of codes have to be in that down here. Okay, oh sorry, down here it is this. Yeah, so that's what we have. So what have we done? Literally, we have created a simple form in our HTML. Then in here in our PHP, we just told PHP which method has our form, which method did our form use to inform that we have a form whereby a user is going to enter a certain mark. So please help us capture the total mark and then give us the grade as well as the GPA. Okay, so as at this very point, let us see what we have when you save and you refresh. So let me say I have 35 as my coursework, and then my exam is 50 as before in the first part. If I submit, you will see that the coursework score is 87.5, the exam score is 83, and the final mark is 85, and grade is A, and GPA is 4. So let me say some other person had okay 20, the coursework was 20, you got 20 out of 40, and exam you got 40. Then when you submit, it shows that your coursework was 50%, the exam was 66, and the final mark was 60, grade was B, and GPA is 3. Well, in case there is something you want to explain more or understand more, please you can endeavor to make a comment, and also we open to learning together. So one thing I would say that I'm going to make another video to explain better the methods, the post methods, which is post and get. Other than that, I'm really very glad that you're following. I hope you had this assignment done. We could add other things. We could really make it style it more by putting some CSS. That is to say that we could come in, for example, I could come in a gundi, I could align, I could center line the is center line. Maybe using attributes like center align. How do I write align? I'm forgetting the spelling. Line equals center. Okay, let me see what we have here. Yes. Oh, something is not aligned. There's an attribute I'm forgetting. Okay, anyway, we could still link up our HTML to CSS and then we design the page, beautify it. But as for now, because we are trying to practice PHP, I'm just doing it a normal way, and so that we just get starting. Okay, all right, submit. Whoa, 60. Okay, fine. I think with that, really I appreciate that. you're following up. And if you find these videos helpful, please kindly share them to other people, and also make a comment and tell us. You can also advise us what can we do better to make good content for you. Otherwise, I love you all. Big up.